Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by today because today I'm going to show you guys how to make a baby Manticore. I haven't made one yet and I thought it'd be a wonderful addition to the channel. Also, I did my hair for my birthday. I think it came out looking like peacock feathers. I was kind of going for it, but it came out better than I thought. Hopefully it'll last longer than 2 weeks. That way I don't have to re-dye it, but I hope you guys like it. Anyways, let's get started on the project. Okay guys, so with my Manticore, I want to have it laying down, almost sleeping, but I am going to have the eyes open. I just want it to be kind of like a cuddly little lion just laying there. So I drew out my pattern to kind of emphasize this and to help the body hold that position. So I'm not going to use any wires to get this position, it's mainly just going to be the way the body is shaped. And then you'll probably notice that I have the neck a separate piece from the body, and that's because I'm going to be making a mane for it, so I need that to be a different color. And then our two other pieces are going to be the top and bottom. So I have a belly piece and a back piece. And I also have these cut in half to help me make the mane as well. So the part of the pattern that is on the left is going to be part of the mane and it's going to be darker, and then the part on the right is going to be the color of the rest of the body. Okay, so for the tail and wings, I'm making them out of a black fake leather. For the tail, because it's got all these different shapes to it, I'm just pinning two pieces of leather together and I drew out the pattern. So I'm going to sew it before I cut it out. And then this is what the main body piece looks like. I have got a left and a right, they're just on top of each other right now. The main body, I have a nice, cool, kind of creamy brown color, and then I've got the mane a darker, longer fur fabric. That way it's kind of like fluffier. Here's the belly piece along with the inside parts of the legs. And then the piece that's going to go down the back of our Manticore. So for our first bit of sewing, I'm going to take our belly piece and our back piece and I'm going to sew those two color pieces together to make one solid piece for each top and bottom. I'm going to do the same thing to the sides of the body. I'm going to connect that mane to the neck of the body. Then I'm going to take the main body piece and the inside parts of the legs. I'm going to lay those leg pieces on top of the pattern and I'm going to sew all the way around each leg. After that, I'm going to take the belly piece and I'm going to connect the two sides to it. Now for the tail, I've got the two fake leather pieces pinned together with the smooth leather side facing inwards. That way we can flip it out when we're done. So I've got the pattern shape drawn onto this and I'm just going to go along the whole thing with my sewing machine. After I've got the sewing done, I'm going to cut off all the extra fabric and then I'm going to flip it right side out and stuff it. Now you're just going to take the scorpion tail and you're going to sew it to the back of the lion body. Now for these wings, I'm going to go briefly over how I put them together, but if you want more detail on how to make wings, I do have a video on how to make dragon wings, and these are basically the same thing, just slightly different, so I'm going to leave that down in the description if you wanted to check that out. Anyways, how I made these wings is the main body part of the wing is going to be a fake leather, and then I sandwiched it between two pieces of felt cut out in the exact same shape. I then used a pattern to draw out how I want the finger pieces of the wings to look, and then I used my sewing machine to follow those lines. I cut off all the extra felt and then I just put a wire inside of the main part of the wing and closed it up. And then the last thing you need for your Manticore is a pair of lion ears. So I just drew out a very simple pattern and I cut out some fur fabric in that shape and some felt pieces in that shape. I'm going to sandwich these two pieces together and I'm going to sew along the line. After I'm done sewing, I'm just going to flip it right side out and then I'm going to stuff it lightly. And that's pretty much all the sewing right now. Now we just need to make our clay face. Okay, so for the clay head, I'm going to be using Original Sculpey for this. It's an oven-baked clay that you can bake in your own kitchen oven. It's really easy to use. So I'm just going to take a glass container to work on. This is just an upside-down candle holder. I'm going to put a layer of clay down, and then I have a lump of tin foil to help me make this snout. So I'm just going to cover all of this in clay and shape it until I like it. Once I was happy with the basic shape of the head, I'm going to add some eyes to the piece. Now I'm just using these glass little decorations. Usually they're like at the bottom of aquariums or something. I like using them for a base of the eye because they're nice and round on one side, but they're flat on the other. You can also use marbles, or you could actually even get your own glass eyes for this. But I plan on painting over these, so I'm just getting two pieces that are roughly the same shape and putting them into the clay. So I'm just going to push them into the clay on the face, and I'm going to make sure they're nice and even, and then I'm going to take some strips of clay to make the eyelids. I'm going to sculpt around this a little bit to get a good expression, and then I'm going to move on to the rest of the face. Now we're going to move on to making the mouth and nose of our Manticore. So I'm going to take 2 large balls of clay and I'm going to push them onto the top of our muzzle. I'm then going to use my fingers and a few tools to help blend the clay into the rest of the clay face. And then for the nose, I'm going to take a lump of clay and I'm going to put it at the very top of the snout, and then I'm going to start blending it in. Once I like the basic shape, I'm going to move on to using my tools to help make the nostrils and to shape the rest of the nose. I'm going to add a few other details around the eyes, and then all I need to do is add a fur texture to the rest of the face. To make the texture of the fur, all I'm using is one of my tools that is really fine tipped, and then I'm just kind of scratching into the clay. I'm keeping my scratches really close together and long. Once I've got one row of lines done, I'm going to go back a little bit, but I'm going to make sure that I'm overlapping, and I'm going to make another row. This will help everything blend together, and you're just going to keep doing it until everything's covered. And then how I make the shorter fur texture is I'm just taking a wire brush tool. This one comes with a basic clay kit, but you could honestly just use a toothbrush for this that you're not using, and all you're going to do is smash it into the clay really lightly to get that rough texture. Once I'm happy with the look of the face, I'm going to put this in the oven at 275 Fahrenheit for probably about 45 to 55 minutes. Once your clay face is out of the oven and is cooled to touch, you can start on the painting. So I'm going to primer the face the same color that I have the fur fabric for the body. So I did my best to match it up. It's going to probably come out a little bit darker because when acrylic paints dry, they always come out darker. So when you're trying to match something, make it just slightly lighter because it will darken up. So I'm just going to primer the whole thing with this, and then I'm going to go over where the mane is and start adding some darker browns. For the end of the snout, I'm going to use some lighter colors to help make it stand out a bit, so I'm just putting a little bit of a creamy white color on top, and then I'm blending it in. And then I'm just going to go over the rest of the fur texture with a few highlights. So I'm just going to use a basic white color and then just add a little bit here and there. I'm going to darken up the nose a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to painting the eyes. Now when painting the eyes, you're going to have to do a few layers of this because the paint doesn't like sticking to the glass as much as it does the clay. So you're going to want to paint a thin layer onto the glass, and then you're going to let that completely dry, and then you're going to apply another layer, completely dry that one, and then do the same thing until you like the color of it. If you don't wait until the paint is completely dry, you'll probably end up peeling off the previous layer. So I painted my eyes red because I wanted to give it a little bit of a demonic look. Even though we're going for a baby cute look, I really wanted to add that red to the eyes. So after I had the red completely put down, I made some little black slit pupils, and then I added some highlights here and there. After that, the last thing I did was I touched up the eyelids a little bit. I let everything dry, and then I applied a thin layer of resin over everything to help protect the paint. This is going to have to sit overnight, and then we can put everything together. Okay guys, it's the following day, our head is completely dry, and we can move on to putting everything together. So I'm going to take my hot glue and my E6000 glue, and I'm going to connect the head to the body. So I'm using the hot glue just to hold it into place long enough for the other glue to dry. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue around the neck, and I'm going to push that fabric into place. Once I have all the fabric held into place, I'm going to use my E6000 glue to go over all the seams and to lock everything in. This glue takes a few hours to dry, but it really holds a lot better than the hot glue. The hot glue is just to kind of help it hold still because it's not a sticky glue. Once you have the main glued all the way around the head, you can now add the ears to the piece. So you're going to just sew these into place. After the ears are done, you can do the same thing to the wings, and then all you have to do is stuff the rest of the body and close everything up. Okay guys, and that's how I made a baby Manticore. I'm going to have him along with a bunch of other creatures in my Etsy shop, so make sure to check the links down below for that if you want to buy anything. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!